Hello, I'm IBX2Cat and welcome back to travel vlog number 3 of Ireland, or Island vlog number 3, whatever the series is actually called. Today, as you might be able to tell from the busy train station in the background, or it's not actually that busy, but as you might be able to tell from the train station, I'm going to Cork because basically Ireland, like lots of other countries, has a, well, I guess like the UK and other countries with a big capital city, have a rail network centred around their city, and yeah, this is Euston Station, one I've been to before. It basically links up all of Ireland to Dublin, which, as I mentioned before, is the biggest city. So yeah, I'm going to hop on one of those trains a little bit. As it turns out, I booked this in advance online because, like the UK system, where you buy in advance or you spend ridiculous amounts of money, is like the I didn't book in advance tax, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But basically you book online and you get cheaper fare. I didn't know what time I booked because I couldn't find the email, and then this morning I'm like, oh, it's actually from before then. So even though, you know, I did all I could to get on time, I couldn't. And what they actually do, instead of just saying, oh, sorry, your ticket's invalid, it was for earlier, they just give you one of these little black cards. Oh, one of these little I'm having problems showing it on these little black cards here, and this just says, yeah, this isn't specific times, this is just all day. And that's awesome. I like that. In the UK, they would just, like I said, this force you to pay so much, and that's terrible. So just a few notes of things I've noticed in the train station here. I was expecting it'd be a bit more like the European system. So I know there's lots of weird differences between the UK system and the Irish rail system. I'm not a train guy enough to read into them. But as it turns out, they have the same barrier gates where it's like, oh, we're not going to trust you. And there's something nice about pretty much any train system besides the UK and Ireland, I guess, where they'll just let you on the train and then they trust you have a ticket on there. And I guess this system's probably more efficient, but you know, the barriers, I don't like them so much. Anyway, yeah, I'm at Euston Station and I have to wait until the next train to Cork, and then I don't know what's going on there. You can hear around the announcement thing now. I was hoping it'd be my train. I was hoping that'd actually be my train that would be announced, but it's not. So yeah, I've got like half an hour still around the station. That's what I'm going to do. I'll get back to you when I'm either in Cork or on the train. I'm not sure how full the train will be. It's like I said, they're the two most popular settlements, but even then, Cork's like kind of small, so it's like a once-hour thing, and then the rest of the network's like once every now and then, which I guess makes sense. So yeah, I'll get back to you when I'm on the train or in Cork. So I'm currently on my way to Cork via train. And you might be able to guess from the rapid movement and the slight humming sound in the background, but yes, this is the train. So, first of all, I really like the train journey just because it's going through the Irish countryside, and because most of the island of Ireland is just green and mountains and stuff, it's a nice view rather than just, you know, depressing cities and suburbs and slums and stuff. But also the inside of the train itself is also pretty nice. So if we switch cameras, you can, oh wait, is that doing it right? You can see the actual train itself. Pretty nice to look at. So yeah, I've got a nice journey ahead of me. It's like 2.5 hours I think each way, but Cork is meant to be pretty fun. Also, wow, look at it through the fisheye camera, it looks even better. So yeah, this is a next level public vlog testing thing, because you know, vlogging in public's kind of weird anyway, because you're talking to yourself at your phone and you just have to accept that people think you're crazy. But if you do it on public transport, when you're done, people will then always look at you like, oh, that's the guy that was talking to himself on the phone. And there's a lot to be learned there. I guess in the future maybe it gets weirder, but it's one of those things I'm trying to like continuously improve and test myself with. Like I did it in, you know, I started with like doing it in countries where they don't speak the language, so I can just like, they're foreign, and it's like, oh, I'll do it in kind of public places where I'm not from, and we'll see if we can keep escalating the public vlog thing, because I know it can make the travel vlogs better, especially for when I can do stuff like this, where just look how cool the scenery is. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, I'll get back to you when I'm in Cork. I am now in the city centre of Cork, and that is rather interesting if you ask me. I'm actually kind of interested by the fact that it does actually seem like it's a very different place where I was before. Like I was expecting, you know, because half of all of Ireland's in this one place, that therefore it's representative of the rest. But it actually doesn't work that way at all, and that's kind of interesting. So I guess what I'm going to be doing now is exploring to some extent. I've only got a few hours, like 5 or 6 here, and one of the things I want to do first is sorry, the lighting seems to keep going out. And one of the things I want to do first is go to the City Museum, because I haven't really gone to one of those things yet. I mean, if you go to many, it's like but I want to learn a bit about the culture and really be like, oh, so that's the difference between these two places. Because like I said, even so far I can see a lot of clear differences. One thing that I do think was interesting though is sorry about that, I'm still getting used to this whole, like, you know, talking essentially to yourself in the middle of nowhere, because every now and then there'll be someone who just really decides to do the death stare at you, and they're like, ah, and this guy like basically gotta learn to get used to staring at someone and then them like getting behind you in the shot, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll be able to see them in the camera the whole time, and that's going to be kind of questionable. Anyway, just a couple of interesting things. First of all, the public transport card, the Leap one, works here as well, which is interesting because, you know, most other places I've been have their own city card. Interesting that it seems to be across all of Ireland. And two, I saw a GameStop here, which is just amusing to me because, you know, you always say terrible things about them, but in the UK at the very least, they haven't been bought out a game by GameStop yet, or at the very least they haven't got the branding. Here, if you look back at the start of the last shot of the previous vlog, the section before this, you can see there's one in the background, and yeah, I found that was interesting. So anyway, all of that said, now I have to go along the river, like 20 minutes out from the city. I would run, but it's funny, I bought these shoes just for running, but as it turns out, like, you know, that half an hour run I did yesterday to get to the place is like, it really hurt my foot, and it's like, bought these specifically to do this one thing, and it seems like they're the worst at it and injure my feet in that way. So yeah, I guess I'll be trying to run and then giving up because it's so much pain, and maybe going something else. Sorry if is the light being all off today? This is actually the sunniest place in Ireland, I believe, and I wanted to mock the fact that the fact that it's the sunniest just means that it had only 68 days of non-sun, but actually that's pretty good. Only 1 in 6 days without sun, and that's including winter. Pretty good statistics. So fun stats for you while I go and be right back, which for you is 0 time, but for me is like 20 minutes. So interesting side note, you know how I mentioned how I think in the Let's Play how most cities or most big cities are centered around a river? Yeah, this one is too. It's no exception, and I really like the name of this river because I was just like, so I wonder what it's called, just because you know, it's a good piece of trivia to have, so you can, you know, back up this fact somewhere. It's called the River Lee, and there's just something amusing about that, like, oh, what do we call the river? I don't know, Lee. And it just kind of stuck. So yeah, it's kind of nice, kind of scenic, and it's useful for trade and for, you know, getting your water in and pooping in. So that's why you have rivers in cities. So as seems to be a fairly frequent occurrence when I just make on-the-spot kind of plans, it turns out that the what's it called? The Cork Gaol Museum is actually, it's not just Gaol meaning museum. Gaol means jail, and it's the Cork Jail Museum. And I was like, oh, okay then. And then it turned out it's actually the exact thing I was basically trying to do yesterday, where, you know, talking about political prisoners and blah 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 blah. Almost depressing, but also kind of cool. So yeah, I learned a few new things, and also I learned about the you know, the whole, like, it's not only a big issue when it comes to the whole, you know, the fact that they're entirely separate and all that stuff, but also back when they did finally, you know, separate from the UK, there was a big, you know, treaty argument. It's like whether they liked the current one or whether they wanted to, you know, not have the Queen or anything like that. And yeah, that was actually a very bizarre little thing that I learned about. So just while we're up here, because you know, the Gaol, the jail, the museum, whatever it is, actually turns out that it's on a massive like kind of hill, which means if you look behind me, I don't know if you can probably see it, but it's a super nice view of the entire city. So yeah, unfortunately the sun's in the way, so like cameras just, because, you know, exposure and stuff, can't be that, that's kind of a shame. But yeah, learned a lot. Basically went to the thing that I tried to go to yesterday, and it turns out the opposite, like in Dublin, even though it's, you know, January or super sold out, here I was like the only person for the vast majority of the time I was there, which was like an hour, and then like 3 other girls arrived later, but still pretty darn empty, which is cool because it means like, because, you know, you're walking around a jail or a prison or whatever, it means it's that next level of like spooky. So it's not only like, oh yeah, there's lots of people like, you know, starved to death and stuff like that, and, you know, aren't crimes depressing, but it was like, oh yeah, and you're here by yourself, and you're locked in a cell by yourself. No one could hear you scream or something like that. I know. It was pretty cool. Pretty, I don't know if spooky's the right word, but it was that. And yeah, I'm gonna head back into the city now, get some food of some form, do something else, and then yeah. So I just ate at a place called the Strasbourg Goose, and the way I searched for such a restaurant and the way it came up is something I figured I'd talk about, because basically what I do when I'm in an area I don't know, such as most areas that aren't where I live, is, you know, I'll just search for insert thing here in Google, sort by rating, ignore the ones that are like just things that clearly I don't like, oh, this is insert type of food I don't like, I'm not going to go with that even if it's rated like 4.9, and then I'll just pick the highest rated one. And I was thinking, like, even though it's a really effective system, and I generally eat at very good places, like the UFO, actually I'm not sure if I mentioned in the blog there, but remember the UFO restaurant that I've tweeted out at least once? That was a really good place, and it was rated highly. Like, the ratings generally respond to how good it is, but I realised, one, you know, there's going to be some pretentious people who are like, oh, if you don't discover it yourself, or you're even rediscovering it, which I don't really care about so much. But two, the more interesting thing to me is the fact that basically, like, Google is basically picking where I eat now, and even though, you know, there's some amount of, like, it's obviously users and stuff, I feel like all it takes is like a business to alter that, and you get a lot of custom, and I feel like at some point that will be of use. Anyway, so I ate an amazing, I don't know if that was lunch or like what meal that counts as, because it was like 5 p.m. But now I've got another, well, really I've got as long as I want, but I've got about an hour left in the city, so I'm just going to see some of the core other sites, because there's if you look behind me, there's a really, really cool cathedral thing, and you can actually go inside the cathedral and hopefully get a nice view. I think I might be a little bit late because I think it's 5:30. I mean, I think it's 5:20 and it closes at 5:30. If that's the case, there's a lot of other just cool things to see, really. And I just want to see Cork, because even though there's not too much to do in a reasonably small town or reasonably small city, still something I'd like to say that I've seen it and I can compare it to the city I like slightly more. So that's what I'm going to do as I cross a very congested road. And I think I'll get back to you when I'm at the Houston station. Maybe share a story, maybe not, who knows. Lots of people, yeah, again, actually just quickly, before we end at this, I want to talk about vlogging in public, because I've had a lot of thoughts on this, because it's something I'm trying to improve at. First of all, it's always going to be tricky to just talk to yourself in front of people, because, you know, you can see every now and then, like, just there, someone walks past and they're, you know, they'll look behind, they'll do something like that. Second of all, so once you get past the fact of like, oh yep, talking to someone in public, second of all, it's the fact that whenever someone walks past, they always give you some amount of look, and you have to kind of deal with that. That's something I'm trying to learn to deal with, you know, you saw earlier on. But the third bit is like trying to actually remain coherent as you're saying all that, because, you know, you got all these things to kind of focus on, and then you're trying to get your points out there. And bear in mind, speaking to, you know, public speaking or just speaking in videos is kind of tricky anyway, because you're always going to make you're never going to actually say your internal thoughts, you're always going to be a tiny bit abstracted. But yeah, it's a little bit tricky. So I think I just proved my point there. The point I'm trying to make is that when you're just talking on live video, you know, there's this kind of pressure on you that makes you not necessarily say the things that you might think. And this is something that I thought was just me. By the way, we're getting really close to this thing. This is something I thought was just me, but it's something that a lot of people have actually spoken out in professional industries or podcasting or whatever, and it's something I'm like, yeah, there's something to that. So if I ever say stuff that seems illogical or like out of character, it's because trying to say exactly what you're actually thinking is tricky. Finally, the last bit is actually trying to hold the camera up like this, because if you do this, again, more people think, but if you hold it like this, it's more for like we're speaking on the street, whereas the more convenient way is to speak like this, because I'm just down here, like I'm watching a movie on my phone. But this is how you get like a full view of what's going on, and also a full view of this big thing. So yeah, this is like, I don't know if you saw it, but on the hillside, this is like the big thing you could see. And yeah, it's pretty grand, you could say. But no, I'm gonna check out some stuff in the city, and I'll get back to you probably at the station, or maybe even at Dublin station. Who knows at this point? I don't know. So this is just one of those things that's in the inner city that I kind of just spotted while I was on the way to something else, and it's called Cork Lough, which I assume is Lake Cork, but, you know, super Irish. And it's hard to see because of how dark it is, but it's just this super giant lake, and there's something really nice about that. Like, it shimmers in the light in just the nicest way, even though there aren't proper lights on it. You know, there's just enough swans where they're cute and not annoying, and yeah, super nice lake in the middle of Cork. And of course, you know, it's nice because it's like a thing around the outside where there's lots of people running around it because it's just that right size, and that's kind of cool. And something I actually picked up. I like having these things in the background as I talk about things. Something I picked up while I was walking here. Oh geez, the lighting is terrible. It's a second channel, lighting doesn't matter. Something I picked up is these people in front of me were like doing this fast walk, like you know, like this, but not really running at all. But they had the kind of running gear on, and they were talking and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really smart thing. Like, I'm surprised it's not more common. Like, because if you think about walking is kind of good for you, running's pretty good for you, but you can't do it for too long. You can fast walk forever, and it's just it's more efficient than walking. You get further, and it's also just, you know, probably better for you and stuff. I don't know the science. I haven't researched fast walking. But yeah, fast walking. If you disagree with my statement that, you know, running is this super utilitarian purpose, then try fast walking places. So I'm really terrified I'm going to drop my phone in here, but yeah, that's everything around there. I think I can't tell if those are stones or like swans with their heads in the water behind me. You can't tell either because the lighting sucks. But yeah, just wanted to give you a quick update because I'm going around. Like I said, really getting a feel for the place. before I leave it forever and ever and ever. So yeah, this is Lake or Cork Lao. I'll use the correct terminology, and yeah, let's move on. Another church back there, by the way. Proving the churches and pubs are all the island or something like that. No, in all seriousness, I just figured I'd check in to let you know I'm exhausted because I just had to run because I'm trying to catch a connection. But I figured I'd let you know that I couldn't vlog too much after the dark one, because I look back then, it's like, yeah, all the lighting truly is awful here. And that's from with night shots. I'm trying to learn more about how the whole process of like video and stuff works, so I can not make this terrible. Also, I know I should be looking at the camera, which is I think over there, right? But to me it looks like I'm looking off the left. Again, more things off to the left. So just wanted to quickly update you, say it's dark, so I'm sorry for no dark vlogs, because I'm sure you all love it when you can't see anything at all. And two, we're going back to Cork, Kent, I think it's called, train station, which will take me back to I was going to say back to Ireland, but back to Dublin, which is what I truly love. So overall impression of Cork, thumbs up, pretty swell, and I'll do some full summary of the day when I'm back home. So okay, so I am back in Dublin, the capital and the place in Ireland I'm staying. If you don't remember that bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some memory problems too, because I think I mentioned at the start of the vlog. But yeah, I'm back in Dublin, and I just wanted to kind of make a few comments on the day as I walk back to the apartment, which is only like 20 minutes away from the station on the far end of Dublin, which is impressive. And on the walk, apparently there's the big Guinness brewery. And also, if you look behind me, the river looks amazing. And kind of thoughts on the day in general. First of all, actually, before I say that, I want to just quickly mention that the train journey. So, you know, I usually like trains are like an experience, but like that was incredibly cheap. That was a 2.5 hour journey each way, and it cost like 15 euros each way, which is less than it costs for me to do like a 40-minute journey from where I live to the very centre of London. And it's like, it's just so much cheaper. But yeah, I was impressed with the price. And then, you know, that's even if you include the fact that I paid 10 euros because I was an idiot and just didn't get the exact times. But also, besides that, just the general service was nicer. The seats were all real nice. You know, there was like, you know, this train manager came around whilst if anyone needed help and stuff like that. There was like a genuine like restaurant car. It's like, yeah, this stuff's good. I like the rail system. It's a tiny thing, but it's something I do like. So anyway, now that I'm back in Dublin, over thoughts on the day and over thoughts on Cork. I guess the first thing I need to say is, even though I was in Cork for 5 hours, which is a reasonable amount of time, I do feel like it wasn't as long as it could have been. Also, look how nice the river is. And I really love seeing this river at night. Like, it's one of the things I really love about Dublin. But yeah, so okay, over thoughts on Cork. I liked it. I wish I'd had a little bit more time with it. But I do see, even from the little bit I saw, that I, you know, because the things I would have seen after that are stuff like, there was a Cork butter museum. It's like, oh yeah, I do love me some butter trivia. And yeah, most of the things kind of fall into the category of like, yeah, there's not too much to do here, because truth be told, you know, it's just not a very big place. There's not too much to see, do, etc. And that is what I like about a place, whether it's a city, or usually it's a city. And that is why I am a much bigger fan of, also, can I do the something again? That's why I'm a much bigger fan of Dublin than of Cork. And that's why, I don't know, there's this little part of me that's like, yeah, I'd love to live here. It's just nice. So you can't see my face because there's a lorry blocking. There we go. But yeah, kind of overall view of like Cork. I'd like to see a few more Irish places like that, because they are distinct places, and Cork in particular, like, you know, whereas Dublin's the inner city, urban, elite, or whatever words you want to say. Also, Guinness again. I know people like Guinness. I don't want to go to the Guinness, like, because there's like it's a big thing that you go around the Guinness factory and they'll give you Guinness as you do so. But like, I don't like beer, and I know Guinness is like bad tasting for beer, to say the least. I mean, it's black, isn't it? Or is it actually black? I'm going very off subject what I'm trying to say here. Okay, but rounding up. To round up my thoughts here, I really like this particular place. I like Cork, and I'd like to see a few of the other big settlements, but they're just so far away. Like 2.5 hours is the closest one, which was Cork. I think to get to Galway, it's 3 hours. I really want to see Derry. It's or Londonderry, or whatever you want to call it. It's like a walled city. It's still a few cool things there, but that's like 5 hours away. And it's like, even though Ireland is a small island, or a medium-sized island, I guess, you know, it still takes a long time to get around it, and I don't really have that time right now. So I'd love to see the rest of it at some point. I know most of you aren't from Dublin or Cork, or statistically most of you are, but a lot of you aren't, and you're like, oh, I want to see my bit. I like Ireland as a whole, but I'm the sort of person that only really likes a place that's super urbanized and inner city, and that's why I like Dublin. It's all the nicety of all the quirkiness and niceties of Ireland, but with all the coolness of a big city, and that's why it's one of the favourite places I've been so far. Maybe tied with Copenhagen in Denmark, and also I really like Bratislava a bit too, and I liked everywhere I've been a little bit, but yeah, I think so far this is starting to be one of the best places. I kind of want to come here again. I'm not even left yet, so let's hope that's something that goes away. So tomorrow, I think I'm just rambling, but I don't go too long, so I'll try and keep it short. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing lots of video stuff because I want to live an average day bit here to kind of test the theory of like, is it better to live here? And also, one more thing I'm going to do tonight is, because I was thinking more and more, I've got to do another thing where I cross the street on a vlog, but I've been thinking more and more about the whole 5-star thing and how it basically decides where I eat. And there is a Yo Sushi, which I love, Yo Sushi, which is rated 3 stars. Yeah, it's like 3.1 stars out of 5, right near where I live. And I've avoided it for that reason, because it's like, I like sushi, no, but 3.1 stars. I'm going to test my own theory, go to a place I think I like, but that Google tells me I don't, and then I'll get back to you, and I'll tell you if I should trust Google forever, or if maybe sometimes people are wrong and I'm right. It'll probably be the second one. Oh, also, Harpshire Bridge. Yeah, that's nice. So I hope you enjoyed this day's vlog. I'll get back to you after the sushi, or maybe I won't, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.